4 years later, what really happened when Harry faced King Charles again? What really happened when Harry walked back into King Charles's palace? Before we continue, please subscribe, like, and drop your comment. 4 years. That's how long King Charles went without seeing his own grandchildren in person. This July, that finally changed, but the road to get here involved a legal defeat, a security standoff that nearly derailed the whole trip, and a family rift that's still only half healed. Here's what really happened. To understand why this moment mattered so much, you have to go back to 2020, the year Harry and Meghan stepped back from royal duties and moved first to Canada, then to California. Since then, the family has crossed paths only a handful of times. The late Queen's Platinum Jubilee in 2022, her funeral later that year, and King Charles's coronation in 2023. Harry has made quick solo trips back to the UK since, but a full family reunion, Meghan and the kids included, hadn't happened in 4 years. Underneath almost everything that's happened since 2020 is one unresolved issue: security. When Harry and Meghan stepped back as working royals, a UK government body called RAVEC, the Royal and VIP Executive Committee, ruled that Harry would no longer automatically receive the same taxpayer-funded police protection he'd had his whole life. Instead, his security would be assessed case by case. Harry didn't accept that quietly. He sued the Home Office in 2021, arguing the decision put his family in danger. He even offered to personally pay for police protection out of his own pocket. That request was denied too, with officials arguing they didn't want wealthy individuals able to essentially buy specialist police protection. Harry lost that legal challenge, then lost an appeal in 2025. He said publicly that the ruling made it, in his words, difficult to justify safely bringing his wife and children back to the UK at all. Despite the security standoff, the personal relationship between Harry and his father was slowly, quietly thawing. After Charles's cancer diagnosis was announced in February 2024, Harry flew to the UK within days to see him. Later that year, Harry gave an emotional interview saying he hoped for reconciliation, admitting he didn't know how much longer his father had left. Behind the scenes, aides for both men started meeting to open a line of communication after years of near silence. That groundwork led to a short, private tea between Harry and Charles at Clarence House. Brief, but the first face-to-face meeting between them in nearly 2 years. That brings us to this month. Harry arrived in the UK for a full slate of engagements tied to charities he's long supported: Scotty's Little Soldiers, Well Child, and most significantly, marking the 1-year countdown to the 2027 Invictus Games in Birmingham, the international sporting event for wounded and sick veterans that Harry founded over a decade ago. But in the run-up to the trip, it wasn't clear his family would be joining him at all. Just days before departure, Harry's team confirmed that an independent risk review, one RAVEC itself had said was needed as far back as the previous November, still hadn't taken place. Harry's spokesperson pushed back publicly, stating that accommodation was never the real issue. The issue was whether proportionate protective security would be in place for the entire visit. The UK government, for its part, maintained its long-standing policy of not commenting on the specifics of anyone's protective arrangements. The compromise that emerged: Archie and Lilibet would not attend any public events. Meghan would join Harry only for select, more controlled appearances, a visit to the Royal Hospital Chelsea in London, and an Invictus event at Birmingham's National Exhibition Centre. Where the family would actually stay remained unclear for a while too, despite reports that a royal residence had offered them rooms. Adding even more weight to the week, Harry was also in London for the conclusion of his long-running privacy case against the publisher of the Daily Mail, a case joined by Elton John, Elizabeth Hurley, and several others, all alleging decades of unlawful information gathering by the paper. It was described as the last of Harry's active legal battles against the British tabloid press. On July 7th, the High Court dismissed the case, ruling the claimants hadn't proven their allegations. The publisher called it a vindication of its journalism. For Harry, it was a real legal defeat, arriving just 3 days before the family reunion, and a reminder that not everything about this UK visit was going his way. Then, on July 10th, despite everything working against it, the moment happened anyway. Harry, Meghan, and their children were hosted by King Charles and Queen Camilla at Highgrove House, the King's private country residence in Gloucestershire. It marked the first time Charles had seen the whole family together since 2022, and the first time he'd properly met Archie and Lilibet, now 7 and 5, since Lilibet was just a baby. The gathering was kept entirely private, with no official photos released. Sources close to the family described the afternoon as warm and emotional, particularly for the king. But this wasn't a full family fairy tale. Notably absent from any reunion that weekend, Prince William. The brothers still aren't speaking, and there was no meeting between them during Harry's visit. Whatever progress has been made between Harry and his father hasn't extended to the next generation of royal siblings, at least not yet. The story doesn't end there either. In the weeks since, reports suggest Harry is now lobbying the Home Secretary directly, hoping to secure taxpayer-funded security going forward, so future visits, and more time with his grandchildren's grandfather, can happen without the same last-minute uncertainty. A grandfather meeting his grandchildren again after 4 years. A father and son, slowly rebuilding after a very public rift. A legal defeat just days before. A security fight that's been going on for half a decade, with no clean resolution. And a brotherly relationship that's still, for now, exactly where it was. 4 years apart. One afternoon at Highgrove. The reconciliation isn't complete, but for the first time in a long time, it's underway. For more information like this, PLS, don't forget to subscribe.